Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out 9 British things Americans don't even have a fucking word for.
First on my list is cheeky. If there's one word that sums up British humor, it's cheeky. But what does it actually mean? It's this combination of playful and slightly disrespectful, but in a way that makes people laugh instead of getting offended.
Y'all be sure to go to Girl Gone London and like and subscribe. Girl Gone London, Girl Gone London, Girl Gone London, Girl Gone London, Girl Gone London. I've heard the word cheeky. But yeah, we don't have a word for that. Snarky, maybe? But I don't think that's the same. First time I heard the word cheeky was in the Beatles movie A Hard Day's Night. John Lennon goes, cheeky. And I didn't know what that meant for a long time. I thought it meant gay. But it doesn't. Tell me more, Kaylin.
It's kind of charming. It's kind of boldness. You might make a cheeky comment or have a cheeky smile if you know what you're doing wrong and you're enjoying it. People also use it like having a cheeky extra bar of chocolate at Christmas where you know you shouldn't be doing it, but you do it anyway. A kid asking for a third cookie after dinner, cheeky. Americans might say someone's being sassy or fresh or bold, but none of these quite hit the mark. Sassy has more attitude and edge. Fresh actually implies genuine disrespect that'll get you in trouble, and
fresh is like sexual.
Bold is too serious. Cheeky is lighter, it's warmer, it's more playful, and America just doesn't have an equivalent. It's distinctly British in how it walks that line between mischief and affection. Let's talk about British food.
No, not yet. First, I want to look up, what does Merriam-Webster have to say about cheeky? Cheeky. Cheeky can mean boldly rude or disrespectful in a playful or amusing way, such as a cheeky grin. It can also describe something done for pleasure, a cheeky scoop of ice cream, or refer to underwear that shows the buttocks. This meaning can vary by region, with a stronger emphasis on mischievousness in British English. Boldly and playfully rude. Yeah, I like that. In America, we might say snarky, but that kind of means you're being a jerk. The American equivalent for cheeky include sassy, fresh, bold, and impudent. That's what she said. Kaylin must have done a Google search, but she didn't include impudent. Impudent. What does impudent mean exactly? That also sounds sexual to me. Impudent means showing a bold, rude, or disrespectful lack of courtesy, often with a sense of shamelessness. I think that encapsulates my attitude right now. I brushed my hair forward today, and it makes me feel a little more bold, a little impudent. Now let's talk about British food. Kaylin, go.
Let's talk about British food.
Yes.
It's produced some dishes so uniquely British that Americans just stare blankly when you describe them. First
Jelly
on my
deal.
list is coronation chicken. It's cold chicken in a curried mayo sauce with raisins or other dried fruit mixed in. Sounds kind of weird. It is a little bit weird, but it tastes amazing, and it's everywhere in Britain, especially at summer parties, in sandwich shops, or in buffets. It was literally invented in 1953 for Queen Elizabeth II's coronation. They essentially took curry spices and made them safe and creamy for British palates. Americans have chicken salad, yes, but nothing like this sweet curry fruit situation. And more importantly, chicken salad isn't tied to a specific historical moment the way coronation chicken is. It's in the name. Then there's something known as the ploughman's lunch. Walk into any British pub and you can
Plow. I've never had coronation chicken. I've heard of it, and it looks delicious. It, like she said, okay, so it's curry, basically curry, yeah, like a yellow curry, right? But it's been mayonnaised up. I like mayonnaise. I know it's cool to say you hate mayonnaise, but I love it. It makes everything better. Everything, even ice cream, even cake, y'all. My aunt used to make this amazingly famous coconut cake, and she would put mayonnaise in it. It was good. So, coronation chicken. Let's look at some images. I didn't know there were raisins in this. I like raisins. And I guess I could kind of see how it fits into a curry. Like, yeah, it looks good. That's the right color of yellow to eat and be delicious. I wonder if I've had it and it was called something different. Probably not, according to Kaylin. What's she talking about now?
It's in the name. Then there's something known as the ploughman's lunch. Walk into any British pub and you can usually order some kind of ploughman's lunch, which would be cheese, crusty bread, butter, pickles, maybe some ham, or a pork pie. It's cold items on a plate presented as this really rustic and traditional farm workers meal. Americans don't really have an equivalent of a ploughman's lunch. They have pub food. We have what we might call cold cuts or nibbles or something like that, but nothing like a ploughman's lunch. We need to talk about British biscuit culture because it's a real thing and Americans definitely don't get it.
Hang on. Caitlin's going fast today. Ploughman's lunch. I've also heard of builder's tea and plumber's crack. A ploughman's lunch is a traditional British cold meal consisting of bread, cheese, and an onion, usually served with butter and pickle. Whoa, no meat? There's no meat? Hard-boiled eggs, ham, and fruit. Yeah, like Americans would have this, but we would put it all on one sandwich, basically, with mayonnaise. Room temperature cheese is delicious when it starts to get sweaty.
And the hobnob, which is the culture because it's or something like that, but nothing like a ploughman's lunch. We need to talk about British biscuit culture because it's a real thing and Americans definitely don't get it. And the hobnob, which is the word that we don't use in America, that's the king of biscuits. Hobnobs are these oat-based biscuits, what Americans would call cookies, that are pretty substantial. They're not too sweet and they've got a really great texture for dipping in tea.
Yo, I love hobnob. I tried one recently. Within the last month, and it's so delicious. The texture and the flavor, especially after you dip it in tea, because there's all these little, holes in it between the oats, and it just holds on to the tea. Oh. And the chocolate gets melty from the hot tea. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I gotta get more. I ate a whole sleeve in one sitting, and I would eat more if I had them.
They're actually engineered to withstand dunking in tea without falling apart. Hobnobs in tea go together. You don't often just eat hobnobs on their own. That's a lie. I do because I don't like tea, but most of you don't. Now, Americans eat cookies, sure, but it's just a different culture. Cookies are usually much sweeter. They're definitely in the dessert category. And when it comes to the hobnob, it doesn't really have an American equivalent.
Yeah, y'all. I was being hedonistic at the supermarket last week, and I got some cookies. I got a little bag of cookies, and I dipped it in coffee. No good. The cookie's too dense. It was like a wet cookie. It was kind of gross. It's not the same. Hobnobs are superior. Yeah, they are. Also, while we're on the subject of tea, I'm currently drinking tea because tariffs made our coffee prices go up, but then they're back down. I guess we voted to not have tariffs on Brazil, where we get most of our coffee. But I went back to drinking coffee, and it tastes like dirt to me now. I don't want it. I don't even want coffee. I'm into this tea. Green tea in particular. I also like chai spice. Anyway, enough about me.
Hobnobs aren't chocolate chip cookies. They're also not graham crackers, though some people say they're similar. They're not. They exist in their own category. And Americans, we don't have them. Next on my list is the chip buddy, which everyone says I say buddy, but I'm trying to say buddy, but that's just how I say it. So
What's the difference?
Buddy, that sounds really weird in my accent. It's basically chips or French fries in a sandwich in between two slices of buttered bread. It is a fry sandwich. It is a chip sandwich. It is a chip buddy. Buddy being another kind of word for like a type of sandwich. Americans can intellectually understand this concept. Of course we can understand carbs on carbs, but we don't make it in America. It's not a thing. It should be a thing. I would like to start a petition for it to become a thing, but it isn't. And so while we can understand what a French fry sandwich would look like, we don't use the name or would know what to call it. Now,
yeah, like people put French fries on a burger. Even at restaurants, you can get fries on a burger. There's this place called Spitz in Los Feliz. They make awesome doner wraps, and they put French fries on it if you want. It's good, but just bread and French fries, chips, excuse me. I haven't tried it, so I don't want to judge ahead of time, but it seems like too much of the same texture. I gotta try one.
next on my list is the aga. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced aga because I looked this up, but then I found lots of people arguing over whether it was aga or aga.
I've never heard this. Everything up until now I've never heard of that.
So let me know down below. Now, in British homes, especially among middle-class families in the countryside, you might find an aga. It's this massive cast iron stove that looks like this. It stays on all the time and it serves as a cooker, a heater, and basically a place for people to gather around. It's where the pets can sleep in front of, the tea towels can hang to dry. But an aga is not just an appliance. It is a lifestyle statement. It's expensive. It's actually inefficient by modern standards, and it requires learning a completely different way of cooking. And yet, people who love agas love them with a passion. Now, Americans have fancy appliances. We will drop serious money on a professional grade range of something that talks to you. But an aga is different. It really represents this kind of middle class connection to traditional British country life. Next on my list is the pasty.
Hang on. She's going fast. Aga. I've never heard of this. It looks like a stove to me. Aga refers to a brand of cast iron range cooker, an abbreviation for various organizations like Attorney General. No. Aga Ranges USA? What does it burn? Wood or coal or gas? Is it electric? That looks like a modern one. Oh, there. Aga Classic. Learn more. Aga. It's cast iron. Enter the home of any Aga owner and you will find classic warmth. Imagine family and friends gathered around the kitchen. How does it... Oh, it has a roasting oven, slow cook oven, baking oven. It's 4 ovens and a range top, simmering plate, insulated covers. I'm a little confused still. What does it burn? What do agas burn? Is it gas? Gas, electricity, oil, and solid fuels like coal or wood. Wow, there's a futuristic one. Wow. I don't know if I could handle that. That seems like it's always on. I don't know, but that's cool. I like it.
Class connection to traditional British country life. Next on my list is the pasty. Cornish pasty is a baked pastry case filled with beef, tomato, swede, and onion. You can also have vegetarian options, which is what I usually order. It originated as portable food for Cornish tin miners. That edge, which is thick and crimped, it was designed so that miners could hold the pasty with their dirty hands, eat the rest, and then get rid of the crust that they touched.
Oh, really?
Now, the Cornish pasty is actually protected by law. Real Cornish pasties must be made in Cornwall following traditional methods. This is how seriously Britain takes its regional food traditions.
Come on now. This is like champagne is not champagne unless it's made of champagne.
Americans have hand pies. We have empanadas. We've got Hot Pockets. Can't believe we're not comparing Hot Pockets to pasties. Don't come for me. None of these are pasties. You can get pasties all over Britain now in service stations, bakeries, train stations, etc. But that Cornish origin story is always there. The next term on my list...
Y'all, I've had a pasty. Not a Cornish one because it wasn't in Cornwall or Cornwallia. Whatever. I had one in Flagstaff, Arizona. Cornish Pasty Company. See? It was delicious. That looks like what I... No, mine had Look, it's a whole restaurant called Cornish Pasty. That looks like what I had. It was delicious. But I guess I'm going to have to go back and break the news to the owners that that's not real Cornish pasty. That's some bullshit.
Is the local. Origin story is always there. The next term on my list is the local. When British people talk about the local, they mean their pub, the local pub, not like the local post office or the local school or the local DMV, or what would it be called here? DVLA? DMV? I can't remember which one is British and which one is American. The place where you go to get...
The one that is American is called DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. It gets a bad rap, but I think it actually works really well.
The place where you go to get a driver's license. Anyway, the local is the pub. It's not just any pub, it's their pub. The one where they're recognized, where they might have a usual drink, They know the bartender and the regulars. It's more than your favorite pub. It's almost an extension of your living room, hence your local. Americans have their regular spots, their neighborhood bars, places where people know their name, but the local isn't really a term that we would use when it comes to that. The local is really interwoven into British pub culture. And Americans don't really have this term because despite having plenty of bars and places to frequent, they don't quite have this same relationship with drinking spaces as an extension of your home life where you would meet up with people the same time again and again. People might go to different places where they might have one they go more than others, but it's just a different culture. Next up is the term...
Yeah, my local is a bar called Birds, named after the Alfred Hitchcock movie. And it's also Christopher Nolan's local. If you want to get a sighting of Christopher Nolan, go to Birds in Los Feliz. Actually, where is it? I'm not going to say.
Where they might have one they go more than others, but it's just a different culture. Next up is the term elevenses, which is a mid-morning break. Around 11 a.m. in Britain, some people think it's time for elevenses. That's like a tea or coffee break, maybe a light snack. It's a whole thing. It's got a whole term for it. Americans take coffee breaks, but we don't have a specific culturally recognized name for the mid-morning pause. You can take a coffee break whenever you want to. Elevensies is wonderfully British in its informality, using the time as a plural noun, so you just turned 11 into elevenses, and it's this sort of recognized word that people will understand if you say. Next on...
Yeah. I think I have heard of elevensies. Was it on Lord of the Rings? Or was that the first breakfast, second breakfast, third breakfast, all that? Either way, it's very Hobbitish. Who's texting me? No one. Okay. The word elevensies is so British. Bibbidi bobbidi.
On my list is the phrase Muppet. In the British arsenal of insults, Muppet is special. It means someone's being foolish or silly, but it's often said with affection. You call your friend a Muppet when they do something dumb. You might mutter it about a colleague who's messed up, but it's an insult with the edges rounded off. It's not meant to be so in your face and actually hurt someone's feelings. The term comes from Jim Henson's beloved puppet characters, obviously, but somehow the British have turned it into their go-to word for affectionate mockery. Americans know the Muppets, and we love the Muppets, but we don't use Muppet as an insult. Our equivalent might be something like goofball or dummy or maybe knucklehead back in the day, but they're not quite the same. Calling
silly goose
someone a Muppet means that you're a little annoyed with them, but you still kind of like them. It's very British. And the last...
Y'all, I consider that term a compliment. I love the Muppets. I would like to be a Muppet. If you call me a Muppet, that's my love language.
Last thing on my list is cowboys, because here's where it gets confusing. In Britain, cowboys doesn't usually mean rugged horsemen from the Old West. It means dodgy tradesmen and builders who do bad work, probably at inflated prices, and definitely without qualifications.
What?
Cowboy builders are a national term. There are entire TVs dedicated to exposing them. British homeowners live in fear of hiring what they would call cowboys who will ruin the renovation and run off with the money. Americans might call these people con artists. You might say something like a fly-by-night operator, but we don't really have a specific term for this. And definitely when we talk about cowboys in America, we're talking about these guys. The metaphor probably relates to cowboys as lawless frontier figures operating outside civilized society. So it makes sense in the British context, but it's pretty funny because American cowboys are heroic figures for almost these exact same reasons. And that brings me to the end of this video. I hope you guys learned something new. Feel free to leave your comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Y'all be sure to go to Girl Gone London and like and subscribe. Girl Gone London, 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 Girl Gone London. Yeah, if someone called me a cowboy, I'd be like, oh, they think I'm a masculine stud. Cowboy builder. Cowboy plumber. What happens if I type in cowboy plumber? Cowboy plumber. A cowboy plumber is an informal term for an unlicensed and unqualified plumber, or sometimes a legitimate business with a cowboy name. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboy plumbers. Make sure they get an apprenticeship and a proper license. Well, this was enlightening. I want some coronation chicken now and a hobnob. Chocolate hobnob. Well, y'all, I'd like to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my Buy Me a Coffee folks. Thank y'all for watching this with me, and I'll see y'all next time. Later. Muppet. My dog's a Muppet.